welcome to the Deering Banjo Company. We would like today to talk to you folks who think you can't play a musical instrument. Well, the great thing about the banjo is the way the banjo is tuned, the way it's designed, to play in a very basic way, it really is the easiest of all the stringed instruments, maybe the easiest of all the instruments to play. And we're going to talk about that today. Now, if you already know how to play the banjo, even a little bit, this is probably not for you. But for you folks who think, oh, I can only carry a tune in a bucket, or I can't even play the radio, or any of those kind of situations, if you have that sort of sense you can't play an instrument, this is for you. Because we're going to show you you can. And if you already have your banjo there with you, you will. And it'll only take a few minutes. So here we go. Let's get started with the two-finger method of learning to play the banjo. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to start with our right hand. On the right hand, or at least on a banjo, the right hand seems to be the most important part of playing the banjo. Most people agree with that, the professionals and the amateurs alike. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our index finger. We're going to treat our index finger a little like a paintbrush. From this joint forward are the bristles of our paintbrush, and from this point back is the handle of our paintbrush. And what we're going to do is use the nail, the fingernail of our index finger. And you see on my banjo where I have this little eagle here that says Deering Banjo Company. What we're going to do is we're going to take our index finger and we're going to brush across the strings just like you would brush across the strings with a paintbrush. So we're going to do something like this. Isn't that beautiful? Now, the banjo is tuned to an open G chord. You don't have to know what that means. It's not important at this moment. All you have to know is that when you strum with your finger like paintbrush bristles across the strings, you get a beautiful ringing banjo sound. This is a chord. A chord is a pleasing combination of notes, essentially. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to call that the downstroke, where we brush the strings down from up here to down there. Okay. Oh, and one thing let me cover with you very quickly. This is a 5-string banjo, and in order for us to go through this, I'm going to explain one thing. This is string number 1. This is string number 2, string number 3, string number 4, and string number 5. So when I make a reference to the 4th string or the 5th string, now you know where I'm going with that. Okay, we're going to take our strumming pattern here, our downstroke, and we're going to do this together. So I want you to, if your banjo is tuned along, in fact, let's do this. Let's get the banjo tuned up together here. Let's start off by matching the pitch of our banjo strings. This is the 1st string. This is the 2nd string. The 3rd string. The 4th string. And the 5th string. And when you strum it, it should sound something like this. All right, now we're going to take our paintbrush finger and we're going to do downstrokes, and I'm going to call this out. We're going to start this very slowly. When you practice slow, you learn fast. Sadly, when you practice fast, it slows down your learning. And that's tough because we as banjo enthusiasts all want to play really fast. But we will not let that stop us. We will go forward, practicing slow, learning fast. So here we go. We're going to do a downstroke, 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 downstroke. That's it. Downstroke, 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 and downstroke. Okay, now what we're going to do is do the opposite of a downstroke. It's going to be the upstroke. Now for the upstroke, we still have our paintbrush finger, but this time instead of using the nail of our finger, we're going to use the pad, the fleshy part of our index finger. And we're going to stay in the same spot, you know, where our little eagle logo is if you have a deering banjo, and we're going to brush up from the first string to the fifth string, like so. Okay, that's called the upstroke. Let's go through and do a bunch of those, and we'll try to stick together and play in a synchronized fashion here. So let's do some upstrokes. Okay, here we go. Upstroke, 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 upstroke. Try to strum along with me. Upstroke, 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 and upstroke. You'll notice that doing the upstroke sounds a little different because you're brushing the strings with a soft surface as opposed to brushing the strings with a hard surface. This is a good thing. That they are different is not to be a concern at the moment. In the future, as you learn to play more, you'll use both of those surfaces of your finger for different techniques and different tones. So now, let's bring these together, alternating between a downstroke and an upstroke. And I'll call this out. We'll go through it very, very slowly. So let's try this. Here we go. Let's do the downstroke, and upstroke, and downstroke, and upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, and upstroke, downstroke, and upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, and upstroke. Now, as you're learning with this video presentation, if you have control over the video, go back and go through this section, of each section actually, as you need to, but go back through this section and practice that downstroke and that upstroke. And get to where you can do that pretty automatically. Just go down and up, and down and up. And remember, when you practice slow, you learn fast. So you want to focus yourself on keeping everything very, very slow. So, because once you get this down, we're going to go to the next phase of the operation where we begin to use the index finger of our left hand. That's coming up. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to now start making chords with our left hand. If you look at the neck of your banjo, there are these metal bars running across the fingerboard, the part of the surface here where the strings are strung over. These metal bars are called the frets. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to take the index finger of our left hand and we're going to hold down strings number 1, 2, 3, and 4 at this. On mine, I have a little inlaid exotic hardwood bow tie. But if you have a dot or something else on there, it's okay, it works the same. Right even with this 5th string peg here. We're going to hold down the string The first 4 strings. Now, here's the thing about this. You're going to say, okay, well, how do I hold it down? That's an excellent question. There are several techniques. Some players treat their hand like a miniature C-clamp, and they put their thumb around the middle or slightly off of the middle of the back side of the neck, and then hold the strings down like so. Now, if you're like some of us who learn to play a little differently, we sometimes put our palm up against the neck. We really shouldn't, but we got in the habit of doing it when we were young, and we've never broken that habit. You may also find that it's easier to hold the strings down using 2 fingers, one right on top of the other. It's totally okay at this level, and it'll work fine. If it helps give you more strength to hold the strings down, that's fine. Now, one fine point. We're not actually holding the strings down on the fret, because if we did, you hear how muffled that is? It's okay, it's kind of muffled. What we're going to do, we're going to make sure that our finger here is just behind the fret. Okay, so we're going to hold down all 4 strings just behind the frets. We're going to hold down just hard enough so that the strings ring out clearly. See, that's a little bit brighter, a little clearer, a little more bell-like. So all we're doing is we're pushing the strings down so that they're being stretched across the metal bar. So the strings go down and then up over the metal bar. The metal bar, the fret, is what gives the string the clear ringing sound. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now we have a G chord right there. When we hold our finger down here at the 5th fret, the 5th fret from that side, we have a C chord, okay? Let's try putting that together, and let's do a downstroke and an upstroke playing a C chord, okay? So we're going to hold our finger down, and I'm going to hold my fingers out of the way here. Ordinarily, I would probably be doing something like this or like this, but so you can see it easier, I'm tucking my fingers out of the way. You don't necessarily have to do that, but that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so let's do a downstroke and an upstroke and a downstroke and an upstroke and a downstroke and an upstroke and a downstroke and an upstroke. Now your finger and your hand are probably getting kind of tired about now, so go ahead and let that chord go and do a downstroke with a G. It's like coming home. Okay. Now, we now know how to play a G chord and a C chord. We're going to do one more different chord. We're still going to use our index finger. We're going to move our index finger down to this second exotic hardwood bow tie, or whatever inlay you have here. These are called position markers, by the way. This is at the 7th fret. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can hold down the first 4 strings. If you like it better, you can hold down all 5 strings. You don't have to. For the sake of this exercise, it's not important. I'm just going to hold down the first 4 so that I'm consistent with holding the chord down here, okay? So this will create a D chord. The same technique as we used here. We're staying just a little behind the fret. We're trying to keep our thumb, using it as a center post on the back of the neck. And when we get that thumb back there, we're making a miniature C clamp. Now let's try making a D chord. Let's do our downstroke, and upstroke, and downstroke, and upstroke, and downstroke, and upstroke, and downstroke, and upstroke, and downstroke, and upstroke. Now, as we're doing this, you're probably noticing, once again, that maybe your thumb, maybe your index finger, maybe your whole hand is getting tired. So we're going to let this chord go. play a G chord. Once again, it's like coming home. Okay, we've now played a G and a C chord and a D chord. Now we're going to put all three of those together. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the downstroke and the upstroke. And we're not going to change that at all. That's going to stay the same no matter what. We're going to go downstroke and upstroke. Downstroke and upstroke. And I want you to synchronize yourself with me. Watch what I'm doing. Don't watch my right hand. This isn't going to change. We know what to do here. We are now strumming experts, having practiced this before we got to this point. What I do want you to watch is this finger. And I want you to watch when I change the chords. And I'm going to exaggerate the movements here so you can see how I'm doing this. You don't have to imitate this pivoting motion here. When I play ordinarily, I kind of just do like this and like this. But to show you while we're doing this, I'm going to exaggerate this movement. So I'm going to call out the chords, and I want you to watch what I do here and change the chord when I change the chord. Okay? So here we go. Let's start our downstroke and upstroke. Get that right hand in gear. So downstroke, upstroke. Downstroke, upstroke. Let's play the C chord. Beautiful. It rings like a bell. Go back to the G chord. Now I'm going to slide my finger, my left hand, down to the D position, as you can see. And I'm going to play, wait for it, the D chord. Right hand isn't changing. We're doing downstroke and upstroke. And we're going to go back down to the G chord. Now, go through that as many times as you can. And what we're going to do next is do an actual song. You will be playing along while we do a song. Here we go. Okay, now we strummed with a G chord, C chord, and D chord. Now what we're going to do is play a song. We're going to do an old traditional song called You Are My Sunshine. Most of us know that song, and if we don't, well, sorry, but we'll try to do it in a very familiar way so it'll come to you quickly. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start. I'm going to sing this, by the way. So I got to get my... Okay, now, we're going to sing this, but what I want you to do, we're going to not worry about the right hand. The right hand is going to be the same. We're going to keep the same pace. What I want you to do is focus on my fretting hand where I'm going to change chords. Because I won't be able to call out the chords because I'll be singing. Okay? So here we go. Let's give ourselves a little warm up here. Start strumming with me. Okay. Remember to watch my left hand. You are my sunshine. My way. You are now officially a musician. Okay, now we did one song. We can now do You Are My Sunshine. We're going to do another song. This is another kind of old folk song called This Land Is Your Land. Now we're going to do it exactly the same way, the same strum, and we're going to, again, you're going to watch my fretting hand here, my left hand, and I will exaggerate the movements and try to give you as much time to change the chord as possible. And we're going to start off. So let's start our strum. Go downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Two songs. You are now a two-song banjo master. Okay, we're going to throw in one more song. This one is an old song called Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. We're going to do this with just two chords. And before we get into this, I would like to point out, we just did two songs. And those two songs had the same three chords. We're going to do a third song that has two of those same chords. And this shows you how, if you learn a few chords on your banjo, now that you know G, C, and D, and you have a basic strumming pattern, you can play a lot of songs, a lot more than these three. But these are the three that sort of came to mind. So let's give a chance here to Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. Let's start our strum. And again, just watch my left hand. We're just going to play G and D on this one. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Three songs, three chords, and two fingers to play it. It doesn't get much simpler than that. We're going to talk about one more thing just before we go today. The important thing about what we did here today is to remember to practice slow, and you'll learn fast. Once you get a feel for how to play with this two-finger strumming technique, you can go to deeringbanjos.com on our website. We have a lot of learning materials if you want to learn to play some more strumming. We can find folk song books for you on our website. If you want to learn to play clawhammer banjo, we have instructional materials about how to play clawhammer. If you want to learn to play finger-picking bluegrass picking banjo, we've got materials for that too. So go check out the website, practice slow so you learn fast, take your time, and enjoy playing your banjo. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water.